Have you ever gotten everything you thought you wanted and still felt hollow? Have you ever checked your bank account, seen the number rise, yet your peace disappear? You thought freedom would taste like champagne, didn't you? But why does it feel like pressure instead of victory? Because fortune doesn't free you, it exposes you. It shines a light on every wound you've ignored, every insecurity you've hidden beneath ambition. It shows you that money cannot buy peace, because peace was never for sale. At first, the rush feels divine. You wake up believing the universe finally saw your worth. Your phone explodes with praise. Your friends toast to your success. For one night, you believe you've escaped gravity. But then in the quiet that follows, you notice something darker. The applause fades, the eyes shift, and suddenly the people around you don't see you. They see what they can take from you. The fortune that once felt like freedom begins to tighten like a chain around your neck. You start to understand what Machiavelli meant when he warned that fortune favors the bold, but destroys the unprepared. Power always reveals before it rewards. The first test of power is not how much you can earn, it's how much silence you can stand without losing yourself. If this truth cuts close, stay. Because this isn't a channel about luck, it's about learning how to rule it. Subscribe and step quietly into the next chapter of power. Have you ever noticed how the moment you start winning, people stop clapping the same way? Have you ever wondered why the room gets quieter after you rise? The truth is, success doesn't attract love, it attracts attention, and attention is never free. Every compliment hides a measurement. Every "I'm proud of you" quietly asks, "What about me?" You thought you were gaining freedom, but what you really gained was gravity, the kind that pulls everyone closer, not out of affection, but out of hunger. At first, it feels flattering. Old friends resurface, distant relatives text, and everyone suddenly has advice for you. But listen closely. They're not celebrating you. They're circling you. They smell new opportunity, and they want a piece of it. You start to feel the weight of being watched. Every purchase becomes a statement, every choice a performance. You can't just live, you have to justify your existence now. That's when you realize the cruel irony: attention doesn't make you seen, it makes you vulnerable. The spotlight you prayed for now burns your skin. Machiavelli was right, men love at their convenience, but envy with passion. And once you become the mirror for their envy, you stop being human. You become a symbol they want to break. So learn to move quietly. Let your victories breathe in silence. Because power that is visible is always under attack. But power kept in shadow grows unstoppable. If this truth hits something deep inside you, don't look away. Stay here. Subscribe and learn the art of staying powerful when the world starts watching. Have you ever felt in control only to realize you were the one being controlled? Have you ever chased success so hard that it started chasing you back? You told yourself you were steering the ship, but deep down, you know you've been sailing wherever fortune pushed you. You don't own your wins anymore. They own you. Every decision feels like proof you have to show the world that you're still worthy of what you've gained. At first, it feels empowering. You make choices faster, spend bigger, move louder. People call it confidence, but you can feel the anxiety humming underneath. Every move is calculated not for purpose, but for validation. You tell yourself it's freedom, but it's really performance. You've traded peace for perception, and applause has become the new addiction. Then comes the moment you can't ignore. You look around and you no longer recognize who's giving the orders, you or your own image. The mask you built to impress them is now speaking for you. That's when you understand the harsh truth: control is not about holding the wheel. It's about being able to let go without fear. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors those who prepare, not those who perform. Real power is quiet, deliberate, and never desperate to be seen. The stronger you appear, the more you must protect the calm behind it. If this feels like your silent battle, stay. This channel isn't here to flatter you. It's here to free you. Subscribe and learn how to regain command before the mask takes the throne. Have you ever noticed how success changes people, not just you, but everyone around you? Have you felt that shift in the air when the people who once rooted for you start measuring you instead? You used to feel safe in their laughter. Now every compliment feels rehearsed. Every silence feels loaded. You're not imagining it. Success doesn't just reveal who you are, it reveals who they were all along. At first you try to dismiss it. You tell yourself they're just busy, that you're overthinking. But you can feel it, the energy is different. The warmth is gone, replaced by curiosity wrapped in envy. They study you now not with admiration but comparison. Your wins remind them of what they haven't done. And the more you rise, the more they shrink away, whispering your name like a rumor. That's when you realize something Machiavelli already knew: people don't hate power. They hate being reminded they don't have it. Envy doesn't come from strangers, it's born in the eyes of those who once sat beside you. Their smiles hide calculations, their advice hides resentment. So you start to move differently. You stop explaining, stop defending, stop sharing. You learn that silence disarms more than arguments ever will. The moment you stop needing to be understood, you become untouchable. And if you've ever felt that cold shift from being loved to being watched, then you already know what this lesson means. Stay here. Because this channel isn't about being liked, it's about staying sovereign when admiration turns into envy. Subscribe and learn how to keep your peace when the room starts changing temperature. Have you ever watched someone rise fast only to crash even faster? Have you ever looked at a person who had everything and wondered how it all slipped through their hands? Maybe part of you fears the same could happen to you. The truth is, it can. Because success that arrives overnight doesn't build you, it tests you. And most people fail the test before they even know it's begun. At first, it looks glorious. The headlines, the money, the admiration, everything they ever wanted arrives all at once. But behind the glow, there's a shadow forming. They start spending like the world will never slow down. They start trusting people who clap too loudly. They confuse visibility with stability. And before they realize it, the same spotlight that made them famous starts melting everything they built. You've seen it, the lottery winners who end up bankrupt, the viral names that vanish. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. Those who gain power through fortune will lose it the moment fortune turns her face. Because what comes without discipline leaves without mercy. That's the secret most people can't accept. Success doesn't destroy you, exposure does. The higher you climb without roots, the harder the fall will break you. So plant deeply, build quietly, prepare before you rise, not after. Because the throne is beautiful only until it starts burning beneath you. If this truth stings a little, it's because it's real. Don't run from it. Stay here and learn how to rise without losing yourself. Subscribe, and let's build power that lasts longer than luck. Have you ever felt the urge to prove you've made it? That quiet voice whispering, show them. Let them see what you've become. Have you ever bought something not because you needed it, but because you wanted someone else to notice? Be honest, how many of your victories were really for you? Or were they performances for an audience you don't even respect anymore? It's okay. Everyone falls for it. The moment you rise, the world demands proof. They want photos, posts, receipts, confirmation that you are in fact above them. And you deliver. You post the trip, the car, the home. The likes pour in, dopamine hits, validation floods your veins. But what no one tells you is that applause is a loan, not a gift. The moment you stop performing, they collect. Slowly, admiration turns to envy. The same people who cheered for you start watching for cracks. They don't want your success, they want your downfall to feel justified. And in that silence between their praise and their judgment, you feel at the cost of visibility. Machiavelli warned rulers of the same curse. The more you flaunt power, the more enemies you invite. True power is not loud, it's untraceable. So next time you're tempted to show off your crown, remember the moment they see it, they start aiming for it. Let them underestimate you. Let them forget your name. Because power that hides always lasts longer than glory that shines. If you've felt that weight of always proving, this is where it ends. Stay here. Subscribe and learn the art of being undeniable without ever being seen. Have you ever wished you could disappear just to breathe again? Have you ever felt exhausted by being watched, measured, and expected to keep shining? You thought success would bring peace, but instead it made your world smaller. Every move is analyzed, every silence misunderstood. The truth is, when everyone sees you, no one really knows you. And that's the real prison of achievement visibility without intimacy. So one day you stop explaining. You stop posting. You sell what was meant to impress and buy what brings you peace. The noise fades. The crowd moves on. At first it feels like loss. You miss the attention, the validation, the rush. But slowly something far stronger begins to grow in its place, quiet control. You start to see that invisibility isn't weakness, it's strategy. Machiavelli would call it the art of concealment. The wisest rulers, he said, were never the loudest, they were the ones no one noticed until it was too late. They let others chase the spotlight while they built empires in shadow. Because what is hidden can't be attacked, and what looks ordinary can't be destroyed. You realize this is freedom, not applause, not attention, but anonymity. The power to move, decide, and live without being hunted by expectation. If you've ever felt the need to vanish just to find yourself again, you're not lost, you're evolving. Stay here, subscribe, and learn how to turn silence into armor and invisibility into your greatest power. Have you ever built something beautiful only to realize how fragile it really is? Have you ever stayed up at night worrying that one mistake, one betrayal, one unexpected storm could destroy everything you worked for? That's the hidden anxiety of success. The fear that what you've gained can be taken as easily as it arrived. You pretend to be calm, but deep down you know you're standing in an open field with no walls. That's when you learn the truth. Power without protection isn't power at all, it's exposure. Fortune gives, but she also takes. And the only way to keep her loyalty is to build your fortress before the attack begins. Not a fortress of stone, but of structure, contracts, systems, and boundaries. You stop sharing everything. You start documenting, organizing, and protecting what matters. It's not paranoia, it's preparation. Because the world doesn't steal from the poor, it steals from the careless rich. Machiavelli warned that the unguarded prince invites rebellion. The wise ruler builds defenses so quiet no one even knows they exist. You learn to move your wealth into places where curiosity can't follow trust's privacy ownership layers. You stop living like a target and start living like an architect. And suddenly the fear begins to fade. If you've ever felt the quiet dread of losing what you've earned, understand this safety is not luck, it's design. Stay here. Subscribe and learn how to build the kind of fortress that no one can see but everyone can feel. Have you ever looked at your life and felt buried not by failure but by noise? Have you ever realized that success didn't make things clearer? It just made them louder. The calls, the emails, the notifications, the endless obligations. It's like being trapped inside a world that keeps demanding pieces of you. You don't even remember when you stopped thinking and started reacting. You're rich in achievement but bankrupt in peace. That's when you start to understand freedom isn't about having more, it's about having less. Less noise, less chaos, less access to you. The most powerful people in history weren't those who said yes to everything. They were the ones who mastered the art of saying no. Machiavelli would call this purification the deliberate act of removing what weakens the ruler before it becomes rebellion. So you begin your purge. You cut unnecessary subscriptions, obligations, even people. Every no feels selfish at first, but with each decision your clarity returns. You start breathing again. You realize that peace doesn't come from order, it comes from elimination. The truth hurts, because it's simple. What you refuse to remove will eventually remove you. Clean your environment. Audit your circle. Protect your focus like treasure. The world will call it arrogance, let them. You're not rejecting people. You're reclaiming space. If you've ever felt suffocated by your own success, this is your wake-up call. Stay here. Subscribe and learn the ruthless art of subtraction, the kind that makes room for real power. Have you ever felt chained to something you can't see? Have you ever looked at your bank statement, your credit card bill, or your lifestyle and realized you're not free? You're owned. You tell yourself it's normal that everyone lives with debt, that it's just part of modern life. But deep down, you know it's not the numbers that are crushing you. It's the quiet humiliation of being trapped by your own choices. Debt doesn't just take your money, it steals your calm. It makes you wake up tired, go to bed, anxious, and pretend you're fine while silently drowning. It's not a financial issue, it's psychological warfare. Because every dollar you owe whispers one thing: you're not in control. Machiavelli warned that the prince who tolerates disorder within his own walls invites rebellion. Debt is that rebellion. It starts small, it feels manageable, and then it grows teeth. So you begin the cure not by chasing new gains, but by cutting the poison first. You stop feeding the illusion. You sell what doesn't serve you. You face every number, every mistake, every debt that's been hiding in the dark. It's not glamorous, but it's liberation. Because the moment you pay off what owns you, you stop being prey. Freedom doesn't start when you make more, it starts when you owe nothing. The silence after that final payment, that's not just relief, that's rebirth. If you've ever felt the weight of invisible chains around your neck, this is your sign to break them. Stay here. Subscribe and learn how to build wealth that can't be repossessed, because this time it's truly yours. Have you ever felt guilty for saying no to someone you love? Have you ever lent money you couldn't afford to lose, just to keep the peace? You tell yourself it's kindness, that helping is what good people do. But somewhere deep inside you feel it, that quiet resentment growing each time you rescue someone who never learns. You're not helping them. You're feeding a cycle that's slowly draining you. That's the hidden cost of generosity, when it stops coming from love and starts coming from guilt. You give until you're empty, and they still ask for more. You think refusing would make you cruel, but the truth is, saying yes too often turns compassion into control. They start to expect your sacrifice as if it's a right. And the moment you stop giving, you become the villain in the story you helped them write. Machiavelli warned rulers never to give what they couldn't take back without hatred. The same applies to you. Every act of unchecked generosity becomes a chain one you built yourself. Real kindness doesn't mean saying yes, it means setting boundaries that protect both sides from corruption. You don't owe anyone your ruin. Help once clearly without guilt, and stop apologizing for peace. You'll be called selfish, cold, distant. Let them talk. They confuse boundaries with betrayal because they've never known self-respect. If you've ever felt that sting of guilt for finally protecting yourself, remember this: mercy without limits is slavery in disguise. Stay here. Subscribe and learn how to be generous without becoming someone else's lifeline. Have you ever tried to help someone only to realize they didn't want help? They wanted dependence. Have you ever noticed how the more you give, the more they expect, as if generosity erased gratitude? You tell yourself it's just this once, but you know it won't be. Because every time you save them, you teach them that you will. And one day when you finally say no, they'll call you selfish for doing what they should have done themselves. That's the silent tragedy of kindness. Without boundaries, it becomes currency for manipulation. You're not a person anymore. You're a resource. They don't thank you, they count you. And still you give because the guilt of withholding feels worse than the exhaustion of giving. You lose your peace to maintain their comfort. You buy love with sacrifice, and it never seems to be enough. But here's the shift. True mercy is not endless. Real compassion protects both giver and receiver. Machiavelli would call it strategic mercy, one act of help, deliberate and final. Give once, make it count, and make it clear that it will never happen again. That's not cruelty, it's clarity. The irony, they'll respect the boundary more than the endless rescue, because people only value what they can't control, and peace returns the moment you stop trying to save everyone but yourself. If you've ever felt used under the disguise of kindness, this is your reminder: one clear act of generosity is worth more than a lifetime of quiet resentment. Stay here. Subscribe and learn the strength of giving once and never apologizing for peace. Have you ever wondered why the more you earn, the emptier you feel? Have you ever noticed how every time you buy something new, the satisfaction fades faster? You work harder, spend bigger, but the peace you were chasing keeps slipping through your fingers. It's not because you don't have enough, it's because you've started burning the very thing meant to sustain you. You confuse abundance with consumption. You think comfort comes from spending when in truth, it comes from discipline. The poor spend to feel rich. The rich stay rich because they refuse to act poor in disguise. You see, real wealth isn't measured by what you can buy, it's measured by what you can ignore. Machiavelli warned that fortune is unpredictable. The wise ruler keeps reserves for the storms that always come. You don't plant in spring just to eat it all by summer. You harvest, preserve, and wait. Because power doesn't belong to the one who shines, it belongs to the one who endures. So you start living differently. You stop spending from your foundation and start living off your harvest. You realize that money's purpose isn't luxury, it's leverage. Each dollar saved buys you time options and silence. That's what freedom truly feels like, not the thrill of excess, but the calm of stability. If you've ever looked at your full closet and still felt poor, this is your wake-up call. Stay here. Subscribe and learn how to build wealth that outlasts impulse, where your money works for you, not against your peace. Have you ever built something great only to realize it could crumble with one bad decision? Have you ever felt like your success was standing on sand, that one shift in the market, one lawsuit, one betrayal could erase everything overnight? You're not paranoid, you're just starting to see what most people never do. Money without structure is chaos waiting for its cue. You can't keep living deal to deal, dollar to dollar, thinking momentum will protect you. It won't. Momentum dies the moment you stop running. What saves you isn't speed, it's system. Every empire that survived, every fortune that lasted, had one thing in common: design. The Medici, the Rockefellers, the quiet billionaires today, they don't gamble, they govern. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. A prince doesn't just hold power, he organizes it. He divides it, layers. It shields it behind institutions. You must do the same. Diversify. Document. Build your fortress with intention. Stocks for growth, property for stability, reserves for peace. Every decision becomes a soldier. Some fight, some guard, but all protect the kingdom. When you finally see your finances as a living system, not a stack of luck, fear disappears. Control replaces anxiety. That's real wealth, not the numbers, but the architecture that keeps them standing. If you've ever lain awake wondering how fast it could all fall apart, it's time to build something that can't. Stay here. Subscribe and learn how to turn your fortune into a fortress, strong, silent, and untouchable. Have you ever noticed how loud the world becomes when you finally find peace? Have you ever tried to sit in silence only to realize how addicted you've become to noise, to validation, to movement, to proving something every single day? You tell yourself you're being productive, but deep down, you're just afraid of stillness, because silence doesn't just reveal peace, it reveals truth. And most people can't stand what truth sounds like. You've spent years fighting to be seen, to be respected, to be heard. And now when you finally have the power you once dreamed of, you feel the urge to vanish. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. You don't crave recognition anymore. You crave control. The kind of control that doesn't need to shout to be felt. That's when you understand what Machiavelli meant when he said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command himself." The true ruler isn't the loudest voice in the room. It's the one who speaks least and observes most. Silence sharpens instinct. It separates impulse from intention. You start doing less but achieving more. You start saying less but meaning more. You learn that real power is invisible until it moves. The calm you once mistook for weakness has become your most dangerous weapon. If you've ever felt tired of chasing noise and ready to master silence, you're exactly where you need to be. Stay here. Subscribe and learn how to turn stillness into strength, how to command the room without ever raising your voice. Have you ever realized that the real goal was never to win, but to outlast? Have you ever noticed how everyone wants to be seen as powerful, but no one wants to pay the price of staying powerful? You've learned the hard way that fame fades, fortune shifts, and applause always dies down. The question isn't how high you can rise. It's how quietly you can remain. Because the truth is, crowns are fragile. The moment you show it, someone wants to steal it. The moment you defend it, someone wants to test it. But the invisible crown, the one no one sees, the one built from discipline, control, and silence, that crown never falls. You wear it in your calm and your restraint, in the way chaos never seems to move you anymore. Machiavelli understood this final truth: the strongest ruler is the one whose power is felt, not flaunted. You don't need validation anymore. You don't need to explain your success or prove your worth. Your life speaks for itself. You've become untouchable, not because you fought harder, but because you stopped fighting altogether. Power isn't noise. It's the stillness that follows victory. It's the quiet certainty that no one can take what they can't even see. If you've come this far, it's because something in you has already changed. You're no longer chasing fortune, you're mastering it. Stay here, subscribe, and step into the next era of your power, the one that doesn't need to be seen to rule.